So mortgagee sales are life destroying, where people are forced from their homes because they can no longer meet their mortgage repayments. And as the Ponzi has kept on getting more and more inflated over the years, more and more people have started falling into the mortgagee trap. Now the cure for all of this pain is reverting back to affordable housing, but the people in control do not want that. They don't want to see the return of the days where one wage earner could pay the mortgage and raise a family in a home sitting on a quarter-acre section in any New Zealand town or city. And we should not forget that that was the norm years ago. Unfortunately, however, that doesn't suit the heavily invested MPs, their banker mates or their real estate cartel masters. They put their profits before your well-being any day of the week. So they are happy to let this disaster continue. There are currently 82 mortgagee listings on TradeMe, and that's down from 124 just 2 weeks ago. But they never have as many mortgagee sales over the Christmas and New Year period. Now I like to think it's because the banks and the real estate agents have got so much compassion and empathy for the plight of the people that they have helped put in such a desperate position that they simply leave them alone with their families over the holiday period. So let's have a check in on some of the mortgagee sales currently available on TradeMe, shall we? The first property that we are going to be looking at was listed on the 3rd of December. It is in Botany Downs. The title says, Mortgagee Sale, Corner, Brick and Tile. The description says, located in the heart of Botany Downs, this low maintenance brick, block and tile family home is the dream home for every family. Well, I'm sorry to say that this is not the dream home anymore for this family, is it? It has turned into an absolute nightmare. This property is to be sold by auction on the 22nd of December. See what I was saying about the compassion and empathy of the bankers and agents? They are selling this property off 3 days before Christmas. How generous can you get? The latest April 2024 CV is $1.5 million. The property was last purchased in November 2024 for $1.44 million. So less than a year ago, the banks have lent on this property, and let's face it, they lent probably a shed load of money, and less than a year later, the property is up for sale as a mortgagee sale. Is this the responsible lending that the banks have been telling us all about? The next property that we're going to be looking at was listed on the 26th of November. It is in Takanini. The title says Mortgagee Sale, 3-bed and separate rumpus! The description says if you've been waiting for a chance to secure a spacious, practical family home with serious potential and storage, this is it. Mortgagee sales create undeniable opportunity. And this one is an absolute standout. Yay, great. To be sold by auction on the 17th of December. The latest April 2024 CV is $1.475 million. The property was last purchased in February 2021 for $1.705 million. The June 2017 CV was $670,000 and the house was built in the 1950s. I'm sorry, but anyone who supports this Ponzi now needs to take a good hard look at themselves. If you make your money from this Ponzi and you rely on it going up and up and up, you need to move on to something else, something less damaging to society, because enough is enough of this. The next property that we're going to be looking at was listed on the 24th of November. It is in Napier. The title says Mortgagee Auction Must Be Sold. The description says set high on sought after Bluff Hill. This modern 3-bedroom home blends comfort, style and sweeping ocean views. An exceptional opportunity that simply must be sold. So Bluff Hill would be another good name for the Ponzi if you ask me. And this property is to be sold by auction on the 17th of December. The latest September 2023 CV is $1.04 million. The property was last purchased in November 2021 for $1.275 million. But look at the already overinflated 2020 price of $940,000. And in 2015, this property sold for $405,000. What an absolute disaster. These poor buyers have been suckered into the Ponzi trap, being chewed up and spat out. And to think that there's still lots of politicians out there happy to see this continue. What a disgrace. The next property that we're going to be looking at was listed on the 18th of November. It is in Bulls, Rangitikei. The title says Mortgagee Sale. The description says properties of this calibre are seldom available under mortgagee sale conditions. Don't miss this opportunity to secure a modern home in a peaceful setting. It's a shame, isn't it? If only house prices were not so artificially pumped up, these people would not have had to borrow so much, and they would not now be getting thrown out of this modern home in a peaceful setting. The property is to be sold by auction on the 17th of December. The latest July 2023 CV is $720,000. The property was last purchased in August 2023 for $750,000. And this property changed hands in February 2020 for $555,000. So if the RBNZ had not pumped house prices like they did, these owners could have bought for about $200,000 less and would have probably been just fine right now. So someone should have to answer for this corruption, because that is exactly what it is. The final property or properties that we are going to be looking at were listed on the 17th of November. They are in Rothesay Bay on the North Shore. The title says Mortgagee Tenders 5 Townhouses. The description says, a rare opportunity to secure one of 5 near new freehold townhouses in a quality boutique complex. Stylish and well appointed, each offers 3 bedrooms, a study nook and 2.5 bathrooms. These properties are to be sold by tender, which closes on the 12th of December. The CVs are all different for each of these 5 properties, but they are all somewhere around the $1.2 million mark. So for 5 townhouses, that is approximately $6 million. And just look at what was there before. Someone in the government needs to come out and tell us how exactly is this progress. Because in my eyes, it is absolutely the opposite. The natural New Zealand population is decreasing with low fertility rates and people leaving to Australia. Unfortunately, both of these things are caused by the Ponzi. Now we know that the government are only pulling more and more people in from around the world to keep this Ponzi scam going. Kiwis don't want to have to keep being forced to live in smaller and smaller spaces, which cost more and more money, just so investor MPs and their mates can keep profiteering from the Ponzi. Yeah, nah, those days are over. We can all see what successive governments have done, and none of it is good for the people of New Zealand. So enough is most definitely enough. So yes guys, that was a little bit of a somber video unfortunately, but I do think that these things need to be brought into the light. And this channel will be revisiting mortgagee sales around February next year to see if the vultures have started circling once again. So please like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Cheers for that.